Today I'm going to be talking about the time that my ex-boyfriend broke up with me. I keep calling him my ex-boyfriend. He wasn't really my ex-boyfriend, but I slept with him, and when I sleep with you, that automatically makes you my boyfriend. But before I begin, I have a question for you guys. If the person that you're talking to every single day suddenly stops texting you and stops calling you completely with no explanation why, do you let it go or track down that hoe? Now, I don't want to spoil the story, but this is kind of the option that I did with this story today about the time that my ex-boyfriend broke up with me. So the story takes place in New York City. I was at a bar one night. The bartender gives me a drink and he says it's from some guy down at the end of the bar. So I walk away from the bar and then suddenly that guy comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, doesn't buying you a drink at least get your number?" And I was like, "No, buying me 2 drinks gets my number." And he's like, "Well then can I just buy you 3 and take you home tonight?" Oh my god. So we hang out for a little bit and he's very nice and he invites me back to his place. Obviously I wasn't planning on going home with him that night. We never really are planning on going home with them that night. And you know, we make out for a little bit in bed and then as things start to heat up, I start to take off my shirt and he stops me and he says, "Wait." "What?" And he's like, "I really like you, so I think it's better that we wait." Oh my god, that's when I knew this is the man I'm going to marry. I want to sneak out of that apartment right then and call my mother and be like, "Mom, I found the man I'm going to marry." And she's like, "Be quiet, Trick. You said that last week. Stop calling me." Mama's never really been supportive of my relationships. I fell in love with him that night. Yes, I did. I fell in love with someone 6 hours after meeting them. By the way, did I say that I'm a crazy girl? Because I am a crazy girl. This is actually a story from my book that I wrote called 10 Steps to Stop Being a Crazy Girl, which you cannot buy because it is not published. But I sure like to plug something you guys can't even buy, so here it is. Cut to the next few weeks with this guy and we have a really great rest of those few weeks. He's pursuing me non-stop. One thing I didn't mention about this guy is that he was Spanish. He's from Spain, literally, so he had a thick Spanish accent. Let's call him Jose. Actually, no, that's his real name. So let's protect his identity by calling him Carlos. And when I found out that he was Spanish, I was like, "Oh, eres de España. Oh, hablas español? Sí, por supuesto. Lo que quieres un árbol con una princesa en el invierno cuando tengo un bosque en mis tetas." So a few weeks pass, everything is perfect, you guys. It's so perfect. And then suddenly he tells me he has to go back to Spain for a couple of weeks because his visa is expiring. So he has to go take care of some things back home. I realized that I gotta give him something to want to come back to. You know, I gotta keep him wanting more. And so we hadn't slept together that entire time, but the night before, I did it. I did it. I let him have my cherry. And that was really special to me because, you know what, that was the first time that I'd ever slept with anyone that month. So you get my July flower. That's right, you get my July flower, but I want you to have it, okay? I want you to have it. Shh. Shh. The next day, he leaves. All I wake up to is a note that says, "I couldn't bear to wake you up because you look so cute sleeping. I hope you have a good day, handsome." Oh my god, this is my man. I want to get married to this man. So I put that away in my bra and I put myself together and I left. I was a little bit worried because he was going to be in Spain, so I didn't know if we were going to be able to communicate that often, but there's always FaceTime, there's always international calling plans, and so I assumed I'd hear from him pretty soon after he arrived. Well, after a full day passes, and I assumed that he's had time to arrive in Spain and get settled, I hadn't heard anything from him. So I started looking through all those news websites, looking to see if there's a plane crash that happened or something, because that's the only explanation why this man hasn't texted me yet. He must be dead. Well, there weren't any plane crashes that day, so I was like, well, what happened then? What happened? Well, 1 day passes. 2 days passes. Another day passes. And another. And I don't hear a word from Carlos. After 3 weeks pass, Mr. Carlos comes back from Spain. I know because I knew the day that he was coming back. I was watching that calendar, flipping those pages every single day till that motherfucker got back to the United States. And when he got back to the United States, I was gonna show him a lesson. I was gonna teach him the way of life, and so I decided not to send him a text message to welcome him back. How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? I did exactly that. I didn't send him a single text, and I was like, "Yes, you better take that control back, Travis." Well, he didn't text me either. So I waited for a couple of more days and then I started losing my mind because now there was no reason why he wouldn't be texting me. So finally, I sent him a 5 or 6 page text message spilling my heart out saying, you know, "I feel like we had a connection. I'm a little hurt that you didn't send something back to me, blah, 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 blah." You know, it's those text messages that they gotta reload the phone to let it process all the messages you sent to them. I sent that text message and I felt good. It felt like the right thing to do. For about 5 minutes, Then I started second guessing sending that text message in the first place. Oh, why did I do that? I shouldn't say this. Why did I say that? Oh my god, it's too much. Not only that, he didn't respond. So there I was sitting there like a crazy person, checking my phone every 5 minutes. Come on, Lord, you're gonna respond to me. You're gonna respond to me. Finally, after like a week, I got some crazy ass idea in my head. When I first started dating Carlos, on one of our first dates, he took me to his favorite dessert spot, which was Magnolia Bakery, which you probably know about if you live in New York City. At Magnolia Bakery, he loved banana pudding. That was his favorite thing of all time. He said he can't go a week without trying this stuff. He's addicted to it. So with that little piece of knowledge and my insanity going strong, basically my plan was to show up at Carlos's work with banana pudding and tell him exactly how I felt. I was just leaving modeling at this time. I was working in some real estate company. I had an hour-long break every single day, and if I was a minute late, this was the kind of job that would say, don't come back. So what I did was, I left right at 12 o'clock. I sprinted out of that office. Like, I ran to Magnolia, and there's a line down the street, and I was like, nope, I ain't got time for this. So I ran inside, and I said, I just need some bread pudding. Everyone's kind of startled. Everyone grabbed their purses and held it tight. They let me buy the banana pudding right there, and I don't think it's because they were supporting my goal. I think it's just because they thought I was crazy, and I was getting sweat all over their cases, and so they needed me to get out of the store for sanitary purposes. Sanitary purposes. Sanitization, I don't know what the word is. You know what I mean. So I am literally sprinting. But I ran into his office. Of course, there was a receptionist that wouldn't allow people to go by, but I ran right past her because that's what you do in the movies. And just like the movies, she was like,
Sir, you can't do that.
I was determined. I was gonna make sure this man knew exactly how I felt. I got this carton of banana pudding in my hands. I mean, it's not even banana pudding at this point. It's banana liquid. It's spilling all over the side. It's just looking disgusting. So I go to his office and I run back there and I swing that door open, thinking I'm gonna see Jose, and I did see Jose. But I also saw a full conference room full of people in front of me. Jose looks up at me from his desk and he goes, what the hell are you doing here? I got your banana pudding. Oh my god, I could have died. Because right when I said those words, I don't know what it was, but suddenly all my sanity came back to me in that second. It was like I woke up from a nightmare, but I was still living it. And I realized how crazy I looked. I looked at Jose, and I looked at that banana pudding, and I said, oh fuck. But I couldn't turn back then. I'd already done it. I had to go the whole 9 yards. Why would you come to my office and bring me banana pudding? And I said, because it's your favorite. And he's like, well, why would you bring it to my office right now? Well, you weren't texting me back, and I thought you were mad at me. And then Jose finally stands up from his desk, and he looks at me and he says, I wasn't texting you back because I'm not into you. That was like a spear in my heart right there in that office. But you know what? At the very same time, I had closure. And that was something that I wanted for so long in that situation because I didn't get it. I didn't understand that. And at that time, I didn't understand that sometimes you just need to let go of the idea of closure. I think a part of growing up is understanding that sometimes people's minds change, but you gotta let their actions speak for themselves because all of his actions were showing that no matter how good of time we had before, he was not into me anymore. I don't know what happened. It's not really my business what happened, but the thing is, my ex-boyfriend did not want to be with me anymore. I know he was my ex-boyfriend, but we slept together. That means he's my husband. God. That is my story, but be sure to answer the question what you guys would have done in this situation. And I guess that's all I have for right now. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.